Hey, I'm Julie Hornok with United in Autism. This is Dr. Regina Crone with Therapy and Beyond, and we are here at the Moms Mingle, an event for autism moms in the Woodlands, Texas at the Crush Wine Bar near Houston. We're so excited to be here. We're getting all prepared for 100 moms to come and to just enjoy the night, to relax. But today, we wanted to give you at home some information, and we're going to talk about potty training. We're going to talk about how to set up for success. So, Regina, tell us, what can we do? Potty training is tough.
Yeah, potty training is hard, and it's hard for all kids, right? But there's special challenges that I think come with kids when we have nonverbal kids or kids that are not just naturally beginning to potty train. And so kind of throwing out everything you think about potty training, all those like sticker boards and good jobs and books about potty training that you might read to kids.
Yeah.
Kind of going down a different path and having a different plan.
Okay.
And so there's kind of three things that I like to get your mindset around making potty training something that's going to be positive and impactful, right? Change.
Yeah.
And so one of those first things is timing.
Okay.
And so the timing is everything, okay? You cannot do potty training in a weekend.
Yeah.
You cannot do potty training just adding it to your everyday life, but really looking at when is going to be a good time for you as the family to say, we're going to potty train, we're going to commit to potty training for 2 to 3 weeks and try this out.
Okay, that is great advice, because that is something we did. And first of all, the timing of it, like my daughter was only 3 years old, and I was like, I am done with this diaper thing. We have to potty train. And they're like, she has no communication skills. How are you going to do that? And I'm like, it's not about that. And so we decided we put aside a couple weeks of our life, just like you said, and we dropped everything else we were doing, and this was our only goal. And so I love, yes, you cannot do it on a weekend. You cannot do it haphazardly. With our kids, it is 100% or nothing.
It's kind of like having a potty party.
Yes.
Or a potty party staycation with your child to really focus on potty training. And I think that's another thing too, is like making sure that when you're setting this aside, you're picking those period of 3 weeks. Like make sure that you're not going to be going on vacation right after. Make sure that you're not going to have a holiday or something that's going to come up that's going to distract you from the potty training kind of initiative in your home. And then I think in addition to that, if you are doing it during like the school year, make sure you're coordinating with where they're going to therapies or where they're going to school, because it has to be consistent. You cannot potty train in like just 2 hours a day.
Yeah, we had a full team meeting with all therapists, anyone she came in contact with, and everybody had to be on the same page, or it doesn't work, because our kids need 100% consistency.
Right.
So yeah, I would say don't do it until you're ready to do it, you know.
And also you don't have to wait for kids to start like recognizing that they have to go potty.
Yes.
So I think sometimes people delay potty training because they're waiting to like, okay, well they haven't showed readiness signs. And so sometimes what happens is we end up with kids that haven't been potty trained because they haven't shown those signs. And so you can start early and you don't have to have those potty readiness signs. Of course, if you see them, those are positive. Yeah. But if you don't let that stop you from potty training.
Yeah. My daughter had no signs of being ready, but so it's more of a parent readiness.
It really
think of if you're ready to commit, then your child can do this.
And I think if you do attempt potty training with some of the things and tips we're going to give you, and it's not working after 2 or 3 weeks, then take a break and restart it back up in 6 months. And you can get another perspective, and you can get another analysis or other professionals if you need additional assistance, or a medical provider if you want to make sure that there's not something else going on in that
arena. Just because you fail once doesn't mean your kid cannot be potty trained.
Like, I think,
you can try again and again and again. This is not a time thing, you know.
But give it long breaks, because what you don't want to do is just start with something that's not working and then make that the habit that continues for years.
Gotcha.
And so kind of make sure that when you're committed, you're doing it, and there's a clear like, let's stop and get different analysis or steps to add to it.
All right, well that makes sense. Yeah, what else?
Okay, so another thing is like, okay, reinforcers, we talk about that, right? And I just said like, forget about little stickers, forget about like good job and clapping. That doesn't work for all of our kids. So I think one of the most important things to do is like identify what is going to get them motivated, what is worth it to them to pay attention to potty training, right? One of the ways that we also do that is we're going to make this really clear so that we know what we're reinforcing, we know what the reinforcers are about. Like you just mentioned, you had a program, right, with lots of skills, lots of things being taught. Really boil it down to 2 things. When you're focusing on potty training, focus on communication. So don't like get rid of all their language skills, right? You want to keep talking and communicating, but really your only other acquisition should be potty training.
Yeah, because if you think about it, I mean, their brain is overloaded. This is something they don't want to do necessarily.
Sure.
Most of them it's probably very difficult. So we want to pull back
It's a lot of work.
everything else. Yeah, and just focus on this so they don't become overloaded and frustrated themselves.
Right.
And me as a person, when I'm learning something new, other things, I'm dropping other balls. So let's let them do that and just have the potty training.
Just potty training and communication. And when you start looking at these skills and wanting them to pay attention and start really recognizing what they're being like reinforced for.
Yeah.
That's why we kind of pick it down. That one skill is look at what that currency is. What are you using? So again, not stickers, not good boy, not good job. It might be something where their favorite movie is now in the bathroom. Okay. So sometimes think about that. Like if we're wanting kids to go into the bathroom, but they're having to leave everything they love outside the bathroom.
That makes no sense. Why would they want to go?
Why would they want to go, right?
Yeah.
So start moving some of those things into the restroom.
Okay.
For younger kids, or if it's appropriate in your family, like don't be afraid. Like you can bring those little mini trainer potties also into another setting if that makes it easier for you. You don't have to think, oh, my potty's on the other side of the house and I have other things to do. So
we did it right smack dab. She was little, but we did it in the middle of the living room.
Yeah.
And I like what you're saying about the reinforcers because I feel like we had almost used up all of our reinforcers just doing normal stuff, so I knew I had to bring in the big guns.
Yeah.
And we're pretty good about I didn't want her to have sugar, right? And so I brought out the sugar, and it was only temporary, but this child, every time she went, she got a lollipop, and it was like she, once she figured it out, she was so motivated. We had to wean later, but that's a whole other thing. It's just for a short time, and it was hard giving her that much sugar, but it was worth it.
And some of our kids, I've had a kiddo before that he had a hard time finding a reinforcer, and what was the reinforcer actually is we literally put a gift with paper and everything. It was looking like a bag like you'd get at a birthday party, and we put it in the bathroom. And so the surprise itself of not knowing even what was in there, even though the things that they were receiving were fun things, but the surprise itself was reinforcing and motivating too. Like, okay, every time I go to the restroom, I'm going to get something extra and special. So,
and you can get creative and think out of the box because it's like it can be anything. It doesn't have to be something tangible. It can be movies. It can be the thought.
It can be an activity.
It can be whatever. And if they do like a song, like my daughter, we had a potty song we would sing, and then we would throw confetti, and she thought that was really cool.
Potty party?
Yeah, potty party. We threw confetti every time, and she just thought that was so funny. But whatever works for your kid.
And the other thing is setting yourself up for success as a parent. Just making sure you're kind of thinking like the timing, the reinforcers are handy in there. Having like 3 different levels of reinforcement, right? So like one level is going to the restroom, walking into the potty as you're guiding them in there and having it be fun. And maybe some of their favorite things in there. Yeah. But then there's another level of reinforcement. Maybe it's that sugar that comes out when they actually eliminate in the potty, right? So then it's now, I get this extra thing that I don't usually get.
Yep.
And then the next level is have another reinforcer reserved for when they walk in the potty by themselves, right? So now that we're going to have that huge reinforcer or more of the sugar or the other reinforcer that we talked about. So the next tip is setting yourself up for success, having those on hand. But in addition, set timers for yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily even something that your kids have to hear, because we don't want them to think, at the timer I have to go potty. Right. But having those timers, like even in your pocket or something, that reminds you, okay, I need to make sure I'm doing a drive-by by the bathroom and letting my child walk by there for opportunities or taking them into practice. The third thing that we were talking about.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the topic of setting yourself up for success, moms, dads out there, if you have other kids, this is a time to call in your favors because you are going to get irritated with your other kids. I'm just saying it. So, I called my mom and I said, can you take my oldest son for a couple hours every day?
Yeah.
And it was then I could just concentrate and I wasn't irritated with him when he was asking me stuff, and we just focused, and that was setting me up for success because I wasn't as stressed.
Sure.
And I could really focus on it. So, okay.
So setting up those timers, and then this is another part that makes or breaks potty training. Is potty training is not just going to happen in the natural opportunities. So during this time, offer lots of fluids, and you might vary your fluids, and you might just be offering. And I'm not saying like make your child drink, right? But offering just like, there's some punch, here's some juice, whatever's kind of exciting to drink and keeps them drinking.
Yes.
Just offer that throughout the day because we want full bladders to work with.
Right. Well, and it just speeds up the process of learning.
Yes.
And we did that too, again, with the sugar. I was crazy about my kids not eating sugar, and I give her juice, and it was watered down. But she thought it was the greatest thing, so she just kept drinking it. But it sped up the learning process because she was able to use the restroom like 12 times in a day instead of 3.
Exactly.
So there you go. It's quicker.
So So setting yourself up for success is definitely making sure you're giving those fluids. You have all these things kind of ready. Everything's consistent across environments, whoever's working with your child, whether that's at school or in the therapy center, and just making sure all those tools come together. So,
well, that is fantastic. Hopefully we gave everybody some suggestions and some
Tips.
things to think about. Feel free to put your questions down below. We'll answer them. And we are going to go off and pamper some moms.
Yeah.
So thank you, Gina.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.